You become what you believe. Master your thoughts, master your life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, opportunity, or intelligence. They fail because they've been hypnotized by their own thoughts. Every single day, an invisible voice is shaping your decisions, shrinking your ambition, convincing you to settle for less than what you're truly capable of. And the most dangerous part? You trust it. You believe it when it says, "You're not ready." You obey it when it says, "This isn't for you." You surrender to it when it whispers, "Maybe this is just your limit." But what if that voice is lying? What if the life you're living right now is not a reflection of your potential, but a reflection of what you've been programmed to believe? Because here is the truth that will either wake you up or make you uncomfortable. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are stuck because of your beliefs. And the moment you realize that, the moment you take back control of your thoughts, is the moment your entire life begins to change. There is a silent force shaping your destiny right now, unseen, unheard, yet more powerful than any circumstance you could ever face. It is not your past. It is not your environment. It is not luck, chance, or fate. It is your belief. What you believe about yourself, quietly, repeatedly, consistently, becomes the architecture of your life. Every action you take, every risk you avoid, every opportunity you embrace or reject, is filtered through this invisible lens. And most people never question it. They wake up each day inside a mental script they did not consciously write. A script that whispers, "You're not ready. You're not capable. This is just how life is." And because they believe it, because they accept it as truth, it becomes reality. But here is the truth most never realize. Belief is not something you find. Belief is something you build. And if you can build it, you can rebuild it. Right now, you are living inside the results of your dominant thoughts. Not the occasional ones. Not the hopeful ones you entertain for a moment before doubt creeps in. But the consistent, habitual, deeply rooted beliefs that operate beneath your awareness. Your mind is not neutral. It is a magnet. It pulls into your life the exact conditions that align with what you accept as possible. If you believe success is reserved for others, you will unconsciously sabotage your own progress. If you believe struggle defines you, you will find ways to stay stuck in it. If you believe you are powerful, capable, and destined for more, you will begin to act accordingly, even before the evidence appears. Because belief always precedes transformation. Look closely at any extraordinary achievement, and you will find it began long before the world recognized it. It began in the unseen territory of thought. In a moment where someone chose to believe in something that did not yet exist. A vision, an idea, a possibility, and that belief became a force. But most people wait. They wait for proof before they believe. They wait for validation before they act. They wait for confidence before they move. And in doing so, they trap themselves in a cycle where nothing changes, because the very thing they are waiting for is created by the belief they refuse to adopt. You cannot wait your way into a new life. You must think your way into it. You must decide, deliberately, unapologetically, that the thoughts you allow into your mind will no longer be random, no longer shaped by fear, no longer dictated by past failures or external opinions. You must become the architect of your inner world. Because everything begins there. Every goal you've ever set but didn't pursue. Every dream you dismissed as unrealistic. Every moment you hesitated when you should have acted. They all trace back to a single point. A belief that limited you. And here is the dangerous part. Those beliefs often feel like facts. They disguise themselves as logic. They sound reasonable. They say things like, be realistic, don't aim too high, play it safe. But safety has never created greatness. Comfort has never built empires. And realism, when defined by your current circumstances, is nothing more than a prison. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is repeatedly imagined. Feed it doubt, and it will construct a world of limitations. Feed it vision, and it will begin to search for ways to make that vision real. This is where your power begins. Not in what you do, but in what you consistently think. Because your thoughts are not isolated events. They are seeds. And every single one you plant will grow into something. Either opportunity or obstacle, strength or weakness, progress or stagnation. You cannot plant seeds of fear and expect a harvest of success. You cannot rehearse failure in your mind and perform confidence in your actions. It doesn't work that way. Your external life is a reflection of your internal narrative. Change the narrative, and the reflection must follow. But this is where most people stop. They hear these ideas, they feel inspired for a moment, and then they return to the same patterns. Why? Because changing your thoughts is not a one-time decision. It is a discipline. It is a daily practice of awareness, correction, and repetition. It is catching yourself in the act of self-doubt and choosing, consciously, to redirect your focus. It is replacing "I can't" with "I will find a way." It is refusing to let temporary setbacks define permanent beliefs. And most importantly, it is understanding that belief is not built in comfort. It is built in resistance. It is forged in moments where you feel uncertain, where you want to quit, where the easier path is to retreat back into familiarity. That is where belief is tested. And that is where it is strengthened. Because every time you act in alignment with a higher version of yourself, despite fear, despite doubt, you send a signal to your mind. This is who I am becoming. And your mind begins to adapt. It begins to accept. It begins to believe. Not because you said it once, but because you proved it through action. This is the hidden formula most overlook. Belief is not just thinking differently. It is behaving differently. Consistently. Relentlessly. Until the identity you once imagined becomes the identity you embody. And once that shift happens, everything changes. Not overnight. Not instantly. But inevitably. Because when your beliefs change, your standards rise. When your standards rise, your actions improve. When your actions improve, your results follow. And suddenly, the life that once felt out of reach begins to take shape, not as a distant dream, but as a lived reality. But it starts here, in this moment, with a single decision. To no longer be a prisoner of unconscious thought. To no longer accept limitations that were never truly yours. To take control of the one thing that influences everything else. Your mind. And once you do, you don't just change what you achieve. You change who you are. And that is where true power begins.